Said Benrahma has finally joined Lyon on a permanent transfer for a fee of just under 13 million. When you add in the 5 million we received in January for the initial loan spell of the transfer, it means West Ham have received just under 18 million from Lyon for our Algerian winger. And how about that for some quick arithmetic here on Hammers Chat on Monday morning? Now, I use the phrase finally because I think it was important we got this done for Said Benrahma, but also for the club as well. And I think it's completely different from the Flynn Downs situation. Both players have gone out on loan, had a successful loan spell, and the buying club wish to retain them for next season. However, I think it's two completely different set of circumstances for the players at West Ham. In the case of Said Benrahma, we go back to January. We were looking to sell him. Him, Pablo Fornals and Thilo Kehrer. Obviously, Fornals got his permanent transfer then. He went back to Spain. Kehrer went to Monaco on an initial loan. But as soon as they could make that a permanent transfer in the summer transfer window, they did that. Happy days. Clarity provided. Kehrer got his move. Monaco got his man. And West Ham got their fee. Happy. Everybody's happy. But in the case of Said Benrahma, they couldn't buy him in January. They wanted to, but they couldn't because they were in a relegation battle. So it would have been silly for Lyon to spend 18 million on Said Benrahma in January. Instead, they paid a hefty loan fee just in case they got relegated. West Ham would have been left out of pocket. They got Benrahma. He's played his part. They've stayed up. And by the sounds of it and by the looks of it, Lyon fans are really happy with Benrahma. The club are really happy with Benrahma. He's happy over at Lyon. So much so that when they release the new kit for the coming season, Said Benrahma is in the photo shoot. So they were confident that he was going to be there next season. But the only and the biggest barrier was they were under a transfer embargo for the last month or so. There has been an investigation by the French authorities into financial irregularities from Lyon, so they were placed under a transfer embargo. They couldn't sign anyone. That was lifted at the end of the week. They signed Niakate from Nottingham Forest, helped them out with their PSR, who then went to help out Newcastle by signing Elliot Anderson. But they got Niakate and they've gone straight in and got Said Benrahma tied up as well because they had that option to buy on there. The price was already agreed back in January, 12.7 million. They've activated it and they've got their man. Everyone's happy. And I'm pleased for Said Benrahma as well to get his move because that guy's had enough limbo to last him a lifetime while trying to leave West Ham. Because last week it was reported he was expected back on Wednesday for pre-season training. That agreed fee expired yesterday. Yesterday was the last day it was active for. Now I'm pretty certain if Lyon rocked up on Thursday and offered the 12.7 million, we would have likely have accepted it. But it's good for him to get clarity, especially after what happened in January. Literally after the deadline had passed, he stood around waiting, hang on a minute, is a computer switched back on? Are you filled in that form? Am I going to France? So he's had enough uncertainty and he's now got his new home over in Lyon and I'm pleased for him. But more importantly, I'm pleased for West Ham. For selfish reasons, I'm a West Ham fan. Because I'm pretty certain a few months ago when they were planning for the summer transfer window, when Steidem was having these meetings with David Sullivan, Callum Brady and possibly David Moyes as well, and they were discussing their plans, but also the budget, I'm pretty certain they would have been banking on player sales. They would have been expecting Thilo Kehrer to go to Monaco. They would have been expecting Said Benrahma to go to Lyon. They might have been hoping Flynn Downs goes to Southampton and also that Gerd leaves, but also maybe Lucas Paqueta. Because a month or 2 months ago, whenever he got charged by the FA, because of the season and the Euros, I'm well out of sync with timelines at the moment. But when Paqueta got charged, very quickly it came out, oh, this could be a bit of a problem for West Ham because they were sort of banking on that 85 million. And we've heard from Callum Brady that we were, again, last summer, we were relying on the sale of Lucas Paqueta to Manchester City, which would impact on what we were planning on doing in the transfer window. I imagine the club had a similar set of circumstances this time round, which is maybe not hoping to sell him, but had a plan for if Lucas Paqueta went to Man City this transfer window. But the reports a month or 2 months ago were that it's provided an 85 million hole in Tim Steidem's transfer budget. The last thing he needed was another restriction, another sale falling through with what is reportedly a quite limited budget anyway. Not sure how much I believe it, however, but the reports are that we've had about 60 million to spend before player sales, so you add in Kehrer and you add in Said Benrahma, but then you deduct what we spent on Guilherme and League One Wes. Thankfully that's zero, but you get my point. It was already quite a restricted budget, so the sales are important. So I'm pleased for West Ham that we've got this one done. And I think it's completely different to the Flynn Downs one. The Flynn Downs one is, he may get a second chance at West Ham. And I think West Ham are in a win-win situation here. That either we have a really good championship player next season. I say championship player because that's where he's performed, not because that's the level I think he's at. That's what he was last season. One of the best midfielders in the league. He's come back to West Ham. He gets another opportunity under a completely different manager, a new way of playing. It's fine. That's not an issue. Or he goes to Southampton, we cash in and we get 20 million for him. Also fine. Also good news. I think it's a bit win-win, that situation. The one with Benrahma I think was a little bit different because I feel like he wanted to leave, perhaps a little bit more than what Flynn Downs does. But also, he's 29 before the season kicks off as well. I think it's a good time to sell Said Benrahma and get as much money back as we can. Now, we spent 20, 25 million on him. It depends what you believe and how much you think we ended up paying for him. We've recouped 18 million. So regardless of which figure you want to go with, we've made a small loss on Said Benrahma. I'm not too bothered. The way I'm looking at it, maybe naively, is Benrahma's gone for 18 million. We've signed Guillaume for 19.5 million. Now, it might rise to 25 million. It may do. I hope it does because that means he's been a success and things have happened at West Ham. What those clauses are, I don't know. It'll be appearances, goals, caps for Brazil, winning the FA Cup, qualifying for European football, all those things. So if we end up paying 25 million, he's been a really good player and we've done really well. That is good news. So I'm just looking at it that we've sold Benrahma, signed Guillaume, paid 1.5 million to gamble on this young potential superstar from Brazil. And I'm alright with that. That's how I'm looking at it. Like I said, perhaps naively. In terms of Said Benrahma, I've got nothing against him. When we signed him, we just finished up a relegation battle. We just stayed up. That was the summer. So in the January, we signed Jared Bowen and Thomas Souček. We had that mini tournament, played fantastically well. We stayed up. David Moyes has now been given the job. And we ended up signing Said Benrahma. We didn't want to. Well, David Sullivan did and then didn't. David Moyes wanted Eze. He's on record saying that he wanted Eze. However, we just didn't have the funds for him because we hadn't quite sold Grady Diangana at this point. So we went and got Said Benrahma instead because by the time we did have money, Eze was now at Crystal Palace. We went and got Benrahma. Sullivan mucked around with Brentford because we were meant to pay for him. Then we tried to get him on loan because of some issue with his medical. So it ended up becoming a loan deal. And then in January we signed him anyway because we needed to make another domestic loan. So we had to make sure we had to sign the domestic loans on a permanent transfer so that could free up space to bring somebody else in, Jesse Lingard, on loan from Man United. But my point is, back then, that is what we were, a side that had just finished a relegation battle, and we were, well, I'll be honest, I was expecting another relegation battle. I wasn't expecting us to somehow go from just outside the relegation zone to 6 in the Premier League the next season, and played some wonderful football in that time as well. I thoroughly enjoyed it. That was possibly, obviously we won the trophy, but in terms of the football, that was my favourite season under David Moyes. And Benrahma was a part of that. And that was the right transfer to make at the time. We didn't get Eze, right? Now, who else did we go get? Well, let's get one of the best wingers in the Championship. And he came in. Now, he never fulfilled the potential I thought he had. Part of that was down to David Moyes. Part of that was down to Said Benrahma. So it's a bit of a weird transfer because one of them that I would suggest didn't work out completely. Because I don't think we've seen the best of him. Certainly not on a consistency level. But at the same time, it did work out. Because he scored one of the most important goals, especially in our modern history. History altogether, but certainly our modern history. Since I've been alive, it's one of the most important goals I've seen scored by a West Ham player in a European final. Not many people will ever be able to say that in their life, that they've scored in a European final. Then you narrow it down to score for West Ham in the European final, and then narrow it further down and say that you went on to win the trophy as well. So he's played his part in our success and history. He's there in the history books of West Ham. So I think it's turned out to be a good thing. I think having him here, he's a good player on his day. I think maybe he deserves some more opportunities, but like I said, he never really did live up to what I hoped he would. Maybe a bit too timid, perhaps didn't fit the way that David Moyes played too often of the time. I've got no problems with it though. It wasn't Moyes' number one choice. He came in, he did a job. It got to a point where it had gone really stale at this point now. We had to sell him. We've got most of our money back for him. It's one of those transfers I'm just going to shrug at and say he did a job. We signed him when we were in a relegation battling team. We outgrew Said Benrahma, I think, and now we've got to the point where we've got the likes of Jared Bowen, Lucas Paqueta, Mohamed Kudus. We've just got better players now than we did when we were targeting the likes of Said Benrahma. And Jared Bowen arrived just before Benrahma, also from the Championship. One of them has improved drastically as a player and is currently playing at the Euros. Well, watching at the Euros. And the other one, he just did not take off like Jared Bowen did. Didn't progress, didn't improve just quite as much as Bowen. And I know, there, like I said, there is mitigating factors for that. The main one will be the manager and the style of play. Did it suit Benrahma? No, it didn't. Like I said, I've already given those reasons. But overall, I think it was an alright transfer for us. I don't think it was a disaster. I don't think it was a wonderful one. It's just been an okay transfer. We've got what we needed from Benrahma. I think he's got what he needed from West Ham. He's gone to Lyon now. I wish him all the best. I don't have anything against him whatsoever. The transfer fee would have been nice to get a bit more for him, but I think the most important thing is that we got rid of him in this transfer window. That's another 13 million. It's not much, but it's an extra 13 million to Tim Steidten. And I'll put it like this. I think a really good director of football, I know he's a technical director, but director of football should be able to replace Said Benrahma for 13 million. I do believe that. Forget the 5 million in January. I think 13 million is enough to replace Benrahma in the summer transfer window. A good, not me, not you, but a really good director of football who's got his scouting down to a T, he's good at negotiating, which I think Steidten has shown that he can be. He should be able to replace Said Benrahma for that. For 17 million, we know Jota Silva's available, we know we're interested in him, we've been linked to him a lot. Now I don't know loads about him, but going by what the subscribers have said, because I've listened to them, well, I read them, but I listen to their opinions. It's got me a little bit, I quite like him. I've been watching some clips on Y Scout of him. I quite like him. His numbers are really good. But that's my point. 18 million for Benrahma. We can replace him for somebody for 17 million who's younger. His statistics are a little bit better. I don't think it's difficult to replace Said Benrahma is what I'm trying to say. I don't think he's a huge loss. He wasn't even part of the squad for the last 6 months. He might have got a second chance under Lopetegui, but in all honesty, I didn't really want him to see him get one. I would have preferred to have cashed in. So I'm pleased to see that Benrahma's gone to Lyon. Like I said, I've got nothing against the player. He's just 29 before we start the season. We're trying to bring the age profile of the squad down a little bit, and I just think cashing in now is the right thing for everybody. It's the right thing for Benrahma. It's the right thing for West Ham. And perhaps more importantly, going forward, it's the right thing for Tim Steidten. So there you go, Tim. There's 13 million added to the coffers for the summer transfer window. What can you come up with? But like I said, I'm just looking at it that Guilherme's come in for a little bit more than what we've received from Said Benrahma. I'm happy with that one. Anyway, please get involved in the comments below. Give us your thoughts on Said Benrahma and the transfer to Lyon. If you've enjoyed this video, please do drop a like, comment by clicking thumbs up, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and we'll catch up with you in a bit.